telling us, yeah. If you're okay now, then we know. So we're talking about the cash giveaway, right? You dial star 799 star 70 hash, and you're good to go, right? For just $200 Liberian. So you have to have 200 or more, because we will always encourage you to play more, because the more you play, the better your chances are to win. So with $200 Liberty or more, or its equivalent of $1.50, you stand a chance to win $20,000, right? So if you have $5 on your phone, you play. That $5 could get you like 4 plays. Let's say you have $10, it could get you like 8 to 10 plays or nine, right? And the chances is very, very huge that when you play that number of time, right, according to how the system is set up, you're gonna have a chance to win. So it's either way. I'm very sure once you play that number of time, right? Okay, it's still the sound is still giving problem, and this is where we are. This one is gonna cause some serious distraction this morning. So yes, let's see what is going on. And we want for our okay. Somebody says good sound now, so please confirm it. Yeah, Ture G- uh, Jibira Jibira says good sound, and I'm waiting for at least 3 more comments uh, in that direction. Then that means we are good. Particularly for those following the different Facebook handle, whether it's the YouTube or the Facebook, and live, just wherever you're watching, and kindly help us share. We will get our sound. If you don't worry, we'll get our sound. So the sound part will come. Yeah, because the money part, that's in my spirit. Yeah, when you get a bunch of people, hooligans, thinking that they can run the country anyhow they feel and all that, it's so annoying. So very annoying. So, but this is where we are. Uh, okay. Good morning, Freedom Radio. Love family. I'm following live from Brussels as usual, and this is who. Okay, let me see. Amara Jala. Amara, please tell me, man, whether the sound is okay. Amara or Debris or Truth of Power. You have Roberta Richardson. You have Confident D, watching through the YouTube. Confidence, you want to tell us whether our sound is good now. We are not hearing you. These are old ones, so let me come to the new one. YouTube sound is great too. Okay, so that means we're perfect, I'm sure. So, Honorable Thomas, who is our man, that Richard Kun medicine, man, follow also. Yeah, Thomas Nimlin. Uh, so, okay, then we are good. We can pick it up from here. Yes, you know. Uh, so when you play that number of time, you stand a chance to win. Thank you very much, David Yunkan. So you stand a chance to win the $20,000 or qualify for the frequent players draw or the loyalty reward or bundle. So once you play more than 5, 6, 7 times, because there are 3 options for multiple players. Multiple players has the chance to win or have the chance to win. Multiple players have the chance to win the actual prize for the day, or the frequent player draw, or the loyalty bundle. So you see, so it is not a loss altogether if you play multiple times, and that's what we are encouraging all of our friends. Uh, okay, okay. Deacon says the radio is live. And I'm not talking about Joseph Boaga part of Deacon. I'm talking about real Deacon who, you know, Joseph Boaga part of Deacon. Deacon who say he can deal with the devil, but anyway, the fool can be. You don't man a whole day they call me Deacon and say, oh, you know, the papi, the papi, pizza, the papi. I said, what kind of papi? He say, Boaga. I said, that some papi, they say, Boaga. I said, okay, that's hold it like that. But the papi that all of us papi. But the thing is, the problem will realize that he's all of us papi. And all of us don't have to be bootlicking him before, you know, he recognized that he's all of us papi. But careless about whether he even consider all of us, you know, his grandchildren, his children, because we're not talking family matter here. We're kind of national radio, they're not family thing. So it's not about, and you know, it's not about all that. The society has to graduate to a point where people understand that certain conversation, you don't bring trivial family business, or you don't bring trivial tribal things. You see, I'm one person that detects tribalism as a basis for some governing reasoning or decision making, because all of the time that I know, especially in our politics, that people have voted people squarely because of their kinsmen and all that. These kinsmen will normally turn their back, and they will provide all of the opportunities for their children and their relatives. And you still be left, and your tribe will still keep encountering the very problem it has always encountered. And these struggles will always be there. You will be counting success in their individual life, but you not count success in the collective life of your tribal, lineage. So it makes no sense to, to squarely be making your rational political decisions squarely on the premise of tribal bigotry. Absolutely not. And Nimba just did one, and of course, trust me, you're not going to see anything. You only have the only thing that Nimba has done successfully is they have completed the constitutional number of senators they should have, but it's not going to reflect in the quality of leadership they get. It's not going to reflect in the quality of contribution they have on the Senate floor. And I mean, mark my word today. Everybody know Koga is a dull man, a very dull, empty man, zero man who thrives on tribalism, bigotry, division, war mongering, and this is his best bet. But at the end of the day, the people of Nimba has elected him. He's not the first fool to be elected in this country. There are a lot of fools that have been elected in this country, and I can say that for free. Because you know what? The basis on which we make these electoral decisions ultimately will result to electing fools and dumb-headed idiots. So liberal problem will always be the same thing over and over. We're always going to come back and have the same challenges and have the same issues, right? For over 100 plus years, we've always have issues with waste management from one leadership of the city government to the other, from one president to the other. So innovative, strategic, innovative leadership, and has not come out of the quality of people we give leadership to. So that is a national problem, and you see, Nimba falls into that. Because people are still considering tribes, people are still considering religion, people are still considering war, You see, we can kill. You see, look at the other men who go to a national platform, but just national issue. My own man, Ansu Dole. But I told you, Ansu's biggest problem is microphone. You don't be giving Ansu microphone. That my man, you don't get Ansu, you get Ansu microphone. That problem. His biggest problem is the microphone. Once he has that thing, the power of the microphone. You see the control we have. For anyway, people like us, we are trained to it. But again, at the end of the day, it's about ordering your thought and knowing what to say at what time. So when you are making decisions, when you are having national conversation, and then you embellish your national conversation with extremism, and you're using war languages as your biggest bet to national to not your biggest contribution to national discourse. It is an exemplification of what people like us who believe that the country is actually in regression, right? That indeed this is exactly where we are. And so Dole of all people, and you wake up, you have the opportunity of national leadership, and then you stand from the microphone, right? Stand from the microphone, and you're motivated uh, by what? The protection of your little disaster management job, what they're running behind you for, and senators are even telling you, say, oh, you stole money, and all of these things are happening, and you say, uh, it's not communicating his best qualities in the sense of progress, development, all of these things, or knowledge. No, the man is not bragging about his intellectual capacities, but the man is bragging about his capacity to commit chaos, and this is disgusting. And it is not unique to him though. The other day again, I think it was yesterday, I listened to another group of people say, "Oh, they are all rebels." So until as a country and a people, until we can watch away this mindset that war people, that killers have to be. I mean, in order to get the highest or to be reverent in the Liberian society, you have to portray an attribute of gangsterism, of hooliganism. You have to be violent. You don't necessarily have to be scholarly, right? You don't necessarily have to be progressive, intellectual. You don't know. You have to come before the podium and speak to the microphone and tell the country and fear them that, oh, you see, I'm a general. I can kill. I know people. I know we are master killers. And then this is nonsense. But again, it's happening when the man who have lived many regimes in this country and serving many capacities. And so we ought to get rid of these warmongers, these war associated elements, and reimagine. And this is where I agree with Dr. Pele. Unless my agreement with her is fundamentally different from her in terms of the ideological direction. For her, she believed in radical communism, which I detest. No, she believes, there must be a communist takeover of the Republic of Liberia, and there must be, a break in our relationship with the free world, the great people of the United States of America that have contributed tons and tons and tons and thousands of taxpayers' dollars in the upliftment and betterment of the Republic of Liberia, and all of these things. I think that is disingenuous. But however, we must reimagine in how we give leadership to people, give leadership to the men. The first time you say, oh, that trouble, we all can speak. Tanamasi, we finish, and the man get it, then you sit down in your corner, you say, oh, my own Talamasi, brother, not talking to me. Then the other man say, we can say, oh, I can say, Babwa, I owe Ilo man. But at the end of the day, your life still remains the same. So it's a psychological problem. We need probably a kind of psychological revolution at some point. So, but it has to be driven by a political revolution. And the political revolution must take into consideration the psychological emancipation of the people, the Sake. For so long, over 20 years or more, Liberian people have believed that warlords are the biggest voices that they must see. Leadership as seen through people who have demonstrated the ability to kill and terrorize. And until we can work around these fundamental and drawbacks as a country, we are going to remain entrapped into the cycle of poverty and just like that. And that is the reason why you see when one group of people come as leaders, they leave their book and then go by the bootleg and then come back. And this is a cycle, a terrible cycle. But this is where we are. This is where we are. Hey, look at a Koga, a man who cannot make 5 minutes sense, made him senator, and then he goes to the House of Elders, and then he's given volumes. The man who has demonstrated ineptitude for 13 years, serving you as representative, zero to show. The man cleaves to tribal bigotry, war messaging, divisive politics, extremism, tribalism. This is all the man has to offer. And you reward that man. And the shameless, the most shameful part of it all is to see the regime pump in thousands of taxpayers' dollars to make such a nitwit senator of one of the biggest politically sensitive environment in our country. This is outright despicable. But again, that's the sake, and everybody's okay with it now. But everybody's fine, and the people say anything will be up. So you see, you who are victims of the leadership failures, most are the ones in the community. Even as we're talking now, some of you are getting angry, but you know what? It is due to your own sophistication, and we cannot apologize for that because we all have had the opportunity to define ourselves. So if you choose a path to be used and abused, you're all there in the trenches and your life is defined to poverty and backwardness, but yet still you fall for trouble messages and then you're just there. You're boning, just boning. All you can show in life is just boning from one. You are so irresponsible in your boning. And this is it. But when you have the singular most important and of course sans qua non constitutional power to alter your destiny and your future, and you allow tribal bigotry to be cloud that one, then who are you? I'm talking to all of you this morning. All of you. From Buyao all the way to Yameslon and just everywhere in Nimba and out of Nimba in Bon County, Lufa, and everywhere you talk about tribe when they're critical moment for the country to reimagine its destiny. You are all responsible for liberal backwardness. Until you stop being tribal, until you stop being hateful, and you all come around here talking about religion and be talking like you are all pagans. A lot of you. You're pagans in your deeds. And you prophet. You are doing terrible things. Look. Yeah. And I can hear me saying, like, look at these people. Look at these people. Oh, you know that the church, oh, we with the church people, you the church people, you following, all kind of things. I won't be talking all kinds of things here. But look, beyond that, we have to reach a point where people sit down and make decisions. Look at your life. And when your man comes and say, the man come to you, he says, what you call it? Babwa. He say, yeah, Ilo man. Then the man say, that Ilo man will go and vote for. Tell the man, so no, they're not Ilo man are going to vote for. Are going to vote for the education of my children. And this is going to take me to a very uh a very exquisite piece, and and I like to say from a great son. A Somebody would say a very poetic writer in the former education minister, George Werner. I know I want to have I want us we can talk the politics all the time too, but sometimes we have to provide save civic a bit of civic consciousness for you, make you to sit down and think and say, oh yeah, man. Sometimes you look, all of us have to condemn ourselves because one way or the other we are all part of this thing. And trust us, we have the greatest responsibility to reshape your mind. That's what we've committed ourselves to, and we must do it. So yes, let's please share the live. And so this is what George Con- Conisayon when writes. The illusion of progress. To all of you, listen, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to read this and I'm going to try to break it down for you to understand. When we're talking about voting and what to celebrate that we can be passing around, say, oh, blah, 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 right? If you know the magnitude of what is taken from you by greedy politicians, some of the things you don't be. But this is it. It was yesterday, yet the air in Monrovia still hangs thick. A humid blanket, a humid blanket that clings to the skin, heavy with the scent of salt and diesel. I walk the cracked streets past women balancing baskets of fresh greens on their heads, past market women with baskets of cassava, past children kicking a deflated ball in the dust, past the skeletal remains of buildings still scarred by war. This city wears its history like a frail suit, frail bird, but stubbornly proud. Yet, yesterday, I felt something new, a simmering unease, a quiet betrayal. I saw them on Broad Street, where the trees planted long ago in the middle of the street are now showing signs of age. Their branches knocked, leaves sparse, as if tired of standing watch over a decaying city. The joint security forces, immigration officers, police, and fire service personnel paraded through the area like a show of strength, boots pounding pavement, rifles glinting in the sun, security vehicles sprawling the streets like caged beasts. The official line was to deter troublemakers. But who are the troublemakers? The hungry boy hawking phone cars at midnight, the student protesting the closure of their university, or the men in tailor suits sipping imported whiskey in air-conditioned cigar smoke rooms. So who are the troublemakers? As the police, the immigration, the DA, the joint security, so to speak, march the street in a display of strength and all that to deter who troublemakers. The question becomes for you all this morning, who are actually the troublemaker? Is it the Yana boys and Yana girls who are in the street hawking for survival and sustenance? Or cyclists riding in the city for survival where there's no hope for job and employment? Who are the troublemakers? that the police or the joint security are trying to deter? Should we consider the men in tailored suits sipping imported whiskey in air-conditioned cigar smoke rooms, drafting what? Empty promises. So who are the troublemakers actually? The display of force felt desperate. A pantomime of power in a nation where justice is still a rumor. The whole idea about justice, the former education minister says, is still a rumor. And I agree with him in principle. He went on further to say, I watched those forces outside government buildings, the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning included, and couldn't unsee the irony. A nation that cannot fix its roads, its schools, its hospitals, yet invests heavily in crumbs and leather seats for bureaucrats and military style displays. In a layman term, Liberia as a country that cannot fix its road, its hospital, the schools, the current, the water, or invest in buying big furniture for the president, buying bulletproof car for the president, giving the president all of the state of the art services. What are we? What good is a show of force when the real issues, poverty, corruption, lack of opportunity, remain unaddressed? So, what is the show of force, John Security, when you have not answered these things? Later, I saw the photos of the of the ministerial complex. Its faded walls reborn in fresh coats of ivory and gold. Workers perched on scaffolds, painstakingly brushing over cracks that run deeper than plaster. It reminded me of my auntie's house in West Point. The way she would drop lace over broken furniture before guests arrived. Appearances matter, she would say, even as the roof leaked. But governance isn't a parlor trick. A coat of paint cannot mask the rot of corruption, the mold of neglect festering in every ministry. They are polished. The tune they have polished the tune where or while the kingdom crumbles around them. So you paint the ministries, you make it look beautiful, but the kingdom is crumbling. Corruption is taking over. Poverty, lack of employment, political what? Marginalization. Today, I sat on my balcony. The city sprawled below like a restless sleeper. The ocean wind carried the tag of burning trash, the distant hum of generators. My phone buzzed, and another tweet praising the transformative leadership of the week. That our men, that how you call it? The color brigade. Say I wanted to scream, not out of anger, but grief. Grief for what we have accepted as enough, Liberian. When you look around, you see what we celebrate. Basically, this is the point he's making. It pains your heart to see Sierra Leone make all of the progress that she's making, right? Expose her citizens to new infrastructural development, state of the art transformation. And we are here celebrating a way station. And while celebrating that way station, our minister makes derogatory, unfounded, irresponsible comments, singing praises to a failed, visionless leader who for over 13 months has demonstrated no sense of direction as to how he intends to progress the country. But again, this is what we have accepted as enough. Low ambition, that's the sickness here. We have been conditioned to celebrate crumbs as feasts, to mistake survival for progress. Basically, this is it. The young men will take their phones every morning and will call and will lash at critical voices like Abu, KOK, AB William, Winston. They will lash at us for being critical and demanding more from a rotting establishment that's bending on thievery and corruption. And they get mad because why? The biggest sickness in Liberia is low ambition. And that has become so commonplace that everybody feels okay. You get a man $50, the man okay. The man can cost Abu for 1 month. And then Abu, yeah, I'll go for him. And then put him out, I'll go there. I have been looking at it, look at these victims of what? Circumstances. All of you kids that can be writing gibberish, some of you are so poor to a point where you're not even proud of your own identity. You have to be attaching other people's name to yourself. When I see people like that, using other people's name only to appease their crumbs giver. And I'm like, wow, self-pride. Poverty is so dangerous. It makes your own son to idolize another person and see the other person as role model, as master, as king, while they come home and talk to you in disdain manner. This is the country we have today. Let me continue with this beautiful piece. Low ambition. That's the sickness here. We have been conditioned to celebrate crumbs as feast, to mistake survival for progress. We clap for shiny bosses while our children study under tabs. We marvel at fresh paint on government buildings while clinics run out of bandages. Sorry. We cheer soldiers in the streets because we have forgotten what real security looks like. A job, a meal, a feature that doesn't require a visa. And I will pause on this point. I've been receiving back-to-back calls defeated from a Liberian woman. Her son left this country because he is seeking greener pasture. And several of them, they're entrapped in Tunisia, reduced to slave labor, abused and misused on a daily basis. They've sent me a couple of videos, and these are Liberian children. They're undergoing this or they're undergoing all of this treatment because the government has failed them. The country that they hold so dear has let them down. No opportunities. The opportunities in the country are reserved for the families of the ruling class. Today, Liberians, women are being molested, gang raped, used as sex slaves in other countries. The government is doing nothing. The report from Tunisia, other countries have sent people to go and rescue their citizens. Our Liberian brothers are there. The woman called me almost every day. She's crying. And so when I read the One Piece and I come to this point and I'm like, this is it. You're out there cheering soldiers, malnourished, underpaid, abused and misused soldiers in the streets because we as a country and people have forgotten what real security looks like. Even our leaders are careless about what real security looks like. All of them are stealing. Real security is job, a meal, and a feature you can count on that doesn't require you embarking on parallel journey. engaging the Mediterranean, risking your life, the desert. Liberians have been exposed to all these because the government has failed them. The rescue has derailed. The train has derailed the track. First family is connected to drug dealing in the country now. So who all has hope? To conclude, Liberia is a land of survivors. We have endured coups, diseases, and storms that flatten entire towns. But survival is not ambition. Ambition is daring to want more. And that's what we all must cultivate. We must cultivate an ambition. The moment you cultivate an ambition, you will celebrate people like us. And you will emulate people like us. You will join us in the bandwagon of progressive call for radical change in Liberia. And that is what we need. Moderate radical change. Let me qualify it so that people don't see it like the Donald Trump style of but yes, ambition is daring to want more, not just buses, but highways, not just pins, but places of learning, not just soldiers, but systems that lift the vulnerable instead of silencing them, branding them, purging them. Yesterday, the government will call this week a triumph. But I know the truth. When you aim for the ground, you will never touch the sky. Yes, I am a citizen still foolish enough to dream big. That concludes the piece. So very great. These are the minds, these are the brains, these are the things we have in the country. But again, when when Giddens when Giddens goes to GSA Road and carry yellow machines and break ground for road maintenance, some of you Liberians take to social media and celebrate and happy and dancing. You're settling for little. That is low ambition. In Cote d'Ivoire, the people are not celebrating that. Not even in Danane, the people are celebrating Dusty Road. Not even in Bo in Sierra Leone. I'm not talking about Bo Waters, I say Bo City. Not even in Kenema. Or not even in Zerikori. Least, right? That people are celebrating. But in Liberia, we are. Somebody bring 18-seater bus, NTA, useless 18-seater bus and consider that and bring that as a national transit service in the country in 2025. And people are celebrating. Oh yeah, the Papa now bring bus of what? Are you kidding me? 18-seater. The regular thing was my papa been using around here to travel from Johnson Street to Railway. Johnson Street to Railway buses. And it's what Liberia is. They say all the country you bring your national transport buses, they will carry Johnson Street to Railway bus. They say, oh, Liberia, our own year. Nonsense. Disgrace. Embarrassment. Shame. But again, you have an old man who care less. And this is the problem that you all do not like to hear. The problem is with the leadership. We have a leadership breakdown. We have a leadership crisis. You succumb Liberia to a deteriorating man in his thought. Man who's got no progressive understanding of what it is. Listen to his dependable son describe him and how they fool you to even think him of a presidential material for your future.
Representative, but you are a salesperson. You're selling a commodity or a product. Your job is to embellish that product. They say, Fantin won't can say a piece of bone ratting. Did you think I knew, or did you think I mistook you for a rescuer? An old man who belongs to the dustbin of our.
Are you hearing it? This is basically what they knew him for. In the sense of progressive developmental leadership and governance, this man is only qualified for a dustbin in the history of Liberia. A colossal failure. For all the time he has served and worked in this country, there's been nothing to show whether it's in policy, whether it's in program, right? Whether it's investment, whether it's in social services, absolutely zero. And they knew it for that. But they fool you. And this is where, when we say it or we come to you and tell you that the problem is with the president. And even if I have the opportunity, if the president developed the courage and he laid down his fear to sit before people like me, and I look in your face and tell you, look, Mr. President, all due respect, Your Excellency, Liberia is poised to make progress. But today, our problem is you. Oh, yeah, yeah, ain't beautiful. I can tell him. But look, the reason why I will not tell him because that man is afraid to set people like us. Who are you talking about? Oh, you gotta stop talking about Kanye, man. Who? Right? Autocrats are afraid of truth teller. That's the fear I'm talking about. Now he's afraid that I'm going to do anything and no. But because at that moment, it will be public and that the facts, the truth will come in his face. They are afraid of those moments. So they keep you on the periphery. They send their quote unquote attack dogs on you. This is what they do. But folks, these are the fundamental problems with Liberia. We can talk the politics every day. We can go up, we come down. It's us, the mind. We have to work it out. We have to work it out. Freetown people can't elect a Koga to be senator for 9 years. No, they wouldn't do that. Look at Lacra. Look at what the folks are saying from Lacra. Corruption, stealing everywhere. Look at the MCSS, Monrovia Consolidated School System. A man gets appointed there as the superintendent of the entity, primarily on the basis of his tribal lineage, and is being protected by those. And that man sits there, corrupt what? Procurement processes, and corrupt insurance schemes, and is being held in a bowl of incompetent, misdirected. The MCSS bowl is made of incompetent, unqualified individuals, political accommodations. That's who they are. Oh yeah, check the record, check there and bring me the credentials. And I'm hearing the the University of Liberia. But here's the irony about the University of Liberia. The University of Liberia president takes action on those she has investigated and deemed culpable in the syndicate, right, to corrupt fraudulently the academic process and reward a nitwit, an empty trouble junker, and reward him a dead body degree. The university presidency, all of you that were part of that thing, you say 8 of them, immediate dismissal. I think they release. But the man who gave her the job, the man say the people then who get it into the man, the people then who get it into the man, we dismissing them. You dismissing them, right? But the man who they gave it to me, I get confident in that the man will be my inspector. That man is supposed to inspect to know whether the goods that are coming in the country are good, the food that on our market is good, the things they're importing, all the things. Degree role. The president say he's okay. Everybody have spoken. The president has refused. endorse Dorko, but still enjoys the confidence of the president. And this is the irony. The president say, I'm not taking action. The university say, okay, say we not wait for you, we not declare a man president of grad, stay for you to do something, but you know you have boss me, okay, so you don't do it yet. We will well, dismiss or remove these people because their action undermines the value of a responsible academic environment. So we'll remove them. But Dokubo still sits there, takes thousand in tax dollars as inspector general when the world knows that Dokubo is an academic fraud. The president appointed a degree role. Nobody appointed him. The most sophisticated librarian, the man with 42 years of governmental experience, the man who know who to appoint and all that, and all of these things appoints an academic fraudster, a rogue, a criminal, a man that is criminal. The man says he keeps the man there. The president keeps the man there. So kudos to the university authority. Dr. Mampanya or Mampawa. Kudos, that's great. But the president must act. And these are the things the president is ignoring. And the only thing that's holding the president is what? Narrow political interests. Narrow political interests fueled by tribal cleavages. This man is a Gio man. The Gio people are a strong alliance member of my Unity Party government. This man is a representation of the Gio people. When I move the man, the Gio people will get very me. So you see why the country is not making progress. So make money today. Star 799, star 70 hash, $20,000. As soon as I can, we're gonna start what? As soon as we come, we're gonna start giving our money. Yeah, exactly. Star 799, star 70 hash is the code. Right? So yeah, folks. So when you say that you wake up in the morning, you see no hope. You just don't even know where to start from. This is where the problems with our country lies. Leadership, decision making, election, tribalism. These are our fundamental problems. Now, what have all of these misactions with our psychological mentality and decision making? What has it resorted to? Are some of what we are going to transition and talk about now, right? Are some of what we are going to transition to and talk about right now. When you have a country where people ignore when you have a country where people ignore reasoning and they replace it with tribalism and sympathy vote. Oh, the men are old man, the men are not early not get a man chance, so let me the man president. Look at in the time and age, how Liberian are making people president. Right? Say, oh, the man was chair of the CPP, they're not demonstrate leadership. Say, no, let's get a man time. Yes, that's correct. That's the code, David 2. Right? So, what have all of these resorted to? It has resulted to what we are seeing now. 2023 was a complete demonstration of how our politics has derailed reasonability, has derailed democracy, has defied, and common sense, and is going for all of the senseless trivialities of the war as a basis for decision making. You have warmongers there, like what naked who were the torch bearers, our MPFL rebels were the voices of reasonings here behind Mr. Bwaka. Indicted criminals were the voices of reasoning behind Mr. Bwaka. So everybody sees to consider anything that's genuine to responsible leadership decision making. And this is where we are. There's a complete breakdown in the rule of law from the very beginning of the government to where we are. From day one, the president began breaking the laws of the country. And you have a band of praise singers always saying, oh, yeah, the president is right. Oh, yeah, Mr. President, yeah, it's correct. Oh, yeah, Mr. President, yeah. Lies. The lies has overwhelmed to a point where even people, even the young people, do not even hold respect for government officers anymore. You cannot respect a king. Even the presidency is losing to a point where the president has to take extra steps to command respect or fear. What do we see now? When the president is going somewhere, 30 minutes before the president leaves his office, police are assigned all on the streets, they clear the road, nobody pass, putting fear, panic in the people. It's because when you abuse the law, you disregard, and all the thing, and you lie, you lose self-respect. And this is where we are. You told the children, oh, we're in a digital world. Henry Costa said, I don't know how to operate laptop computer. So the way I don't know how to do it, I'm going to help all of you. So I'll begin with 10,000 you RCT. Where you end up in? Then you move on there. Say before June again, I will ensure I create 20,000 jobs for you, the young people, for you to be. Where is the job? The first 10 has not come yet. That the children in there, right? You move on there, you say, oh, in the interior, I put suffering, your parents are suffering to do this, to do that. So what I'll do, in fact, I bring him, I get my girlfriend, we'll bring 285 yellow machine, we'll build all your road. Everybody passing around happy. Oh, the president. You know what I mean for the president to speak? And then it turns out to be lie. He said, okay, yeah, machine, okay, all right, I'm going to my other friend in China. As soon as I go there, oh, all right, I bring in 5 billion for you. Everybody, oh yeah, our parents so. Come back to the country. Since the president came, everybody, even the so-called asking, why 5 billion? President called a speech from the country on that 5 billion. I know 5 or 6 billion from China. When the president speaks and it turns out on numerous occasions to be lie, the president loses his respect. And this is the case. So the president lost the respect, and now the security people have to go the extra mile to commend or demand respect to the presidency. And this is why some of you been asking, oh, why when the president going, they can block the other road? They want you, because basically people started feeling like they didn't even get time for president. President passing the boat, changing their back, boat doing a different thing, right? President passing the man carrying a car. So it was getting very evident that the Liberian society was growing and, careless about the presidency. And nobody cared because, everybody understanding was that this is a common liar. He has lied about too many things. And these are facts. He lied that when he went to Araco, he solved the electricity problem. Boom! The Araco people sent big letter. They say, pay our debt. You owe all. Then you see, but when the president say the thing when he came by the post say a current benefit now, your people not do it. Then the post say the first time from Ellington all the way to Georgetown, we see I will go send B letter being on roll, TV, current roll, up me. No, the first time we saw it about because you lie. These are what you get if you do not make leadership decision with ambition. If you promise your leadership decision on regional politics, tribal politics, religious division, sentimental argument. Oh, the men are old men. Oh, the man, this man wear big trousers, man. So, so lie, right? And this is it. These are the problems. Like I said, all the playground, the parks that we are being said, they're not real one. Don't pull and get in your car in one way, mash up. Instead of go and get someone that land, post someone kissing you and say, come and be park there. You're not hear a story about that. What happened? When the president tells repeated lies, when we start to discuss President Buckeye, when we just oppose, there are more lies than truth. We come to the break the rule of law, and the country, the government has turned to what? A deal government now. When I go after you, when the court say I wrong, I call you on the side, I give you money, you go say no. Everybody know, everybody, even the Zogo now on the screen know now that President Buckeye can bribe people say, oh, leave your job. That's my other nephew go there. And how much you want? Yeah, talk. How you running the country like that? And when you talk here, then it's give $50, scratch card to picking and say, y'all go cost that picking. Y'all go cost it. What you cost me, what is it going to do? It's not going to solve the problem. All of those doesn't solve the problem. The problem is the president must be responsible. The president must demonstrate that, yes, indeed, when the people say he was experienced, he must show that experience. He must show it to the point where the president is demanding authority and all of those things, and now the president has to seek the president and the government has to seek legitimacy and approval through pseudo means. If you coerce a partisan who has been entrusted as head of the bar association and induce him allegedly with finances to go and author, right, and author comments that are not the the unanimous position of the organization in which he is head. That says this is a drowning government, a drowning president. President is drowning. So he's looking for. So you tell that man, whoever he is, as head of the bar association, goes there and say, the Supreme Court. First of all, is it in the purview of the bar association to tell us whether or not what the Supreme Court have said, and is right or wrong, or it should be listened to? And I read he's referencing Article 2. But let's see what Article 65 says. Article 65 of the Liberian Constitution reads, the judicial power of the Republic shall be vested in a Supreme Court. They did not say that this judicial power that's vested in the Supreme Court is subject to the Bar Association. So the statement from the Bar Association is a big nonsense. Nobody should listen to it. It has no material effect. It is just another regular, and press talk. Why are you even making it? So you see government people taking it. So government, you can make sense by yourself. You gotta be running and looking for legitimacy from other people. You're a whole government, and you gotta be running taking the bar association. I mean the government, for God's sake. The government is using the bar association who has got no legal standing to tell us what is right or what is wrong in these cases, and you are using that. What kind of country we have now, man? Well, where are we go? It comes to question, right? That is Article 65. Say the judicial power of the Republic of Liberia shall be vested in a Supreme Court and such subordinate courts as the legislature may form time to time establish from time to time establish. Let's come down. Article 66. That very Supreme Court shall be the final arbiter. They say that Supreme Court, with all of that vested judicial power, when they finish, you need somebody somewhere to come say, hey, before, and finally the conversation is arbitrated. So the final arbiter is the Supreme Court. And you must not lose sight of that. The attempt of the government is to create an environment of complex confusion, all kinds of things. One moment, they're filing for re-argument. Another moment, they're soliciting signature. Another moment, they're giving money to the Bar Association president, right? To author gibberish, right? So you get all kinds of things. You're thinking, oh, but what are coming in between? Another moment, they take my man, Judge Moba, right? And then Judge Gota, and then Judge Gota, and now, so they just running all over trying to grab something. That is a demonstration that the government is drowning. The Supreme Court is a country of law, and that's what we keep reminding them, and that's what the Supreme Court says. Your actions have to be within the confines of the laws. The Supreme Court shall be the final arbiter of constitutional issues and shall exercise final appellate jurisdiction in all cases, whether emanating from courts of record, courts not of record, administrative agencies, autonomous agencies, or any other authority, including the legislature, the executive. So where are you coming from? And telling us that, oh, we might not listen to the Supreme Court, we must go listen to Bar Association with your former candidate in Bapulu County, where I call that CDC men are flocking. You're running for Senate, right? And this is it. Let's see what Article 72, because our business is to ensure that you remain, because the intention of the government is to distract. And that's why I'm not going to go back, start regurgitating, and anything I deem and qualify as nonsense, I will not expose my audience to it. No, I will save you from mis and disinformation. 72. The justices of the Supreme Court and all other judges. No, this is not where I want to actually read from. Okay. 76 is actually what I want to read. After I've been telling you what the Constitution says about these kind of things, right? Let's see what 76 says. Because a legal thing, a judicial matter we're talking, and it comes with consequences and penalties. The very Constitution says, treason, treason against the Republic shall consist of, right? Levying war against the Republic, aligning oneself with or aiding and abetting another nation, blah, blah, blah. Act of espionage, leaking sensitive information and all of that, like Julia Assange, right? Okay, I think this is fine. We talk about, because you already know where constitutional authority lies. Under Article 76, it says abrogating or attempting to abrogate, subverting or attempting to conspiring or conspiring to subvert the Constitution by use of force to show or force or by any other means would attempt to undermine this Constitution. So I equate the action aided and abetted by elements within the executive, right, of the by association president, because the rest of the other people have distanced themselves from him. The vice president have said so already, so we hold it at that. Means you are attempting to abrogate the Liberian Constitution, and that action under our law is treason. So that very by association president can be held for treason or his abatement. Those who are aiding him and abetting him could be held. So you see where the country have reached, where they're breaking the laws, they're undermining the constitution, they're doing all kinds of things, and the old man is sitting there riding his over $1.2 million bulletproof car of taxpayers' money, though. Dana is there. So, what is the reliance of the Bar Association president to have said all of what he said, right? To have said all of what he said, right, about the Supreme Court conversation. Somebody said the quoted Article 2. Let's read what Article 2 says. The Constitution, this Constitution, is the supreme and fundamental law of Liberia. No other law, statute, whatever, concession, this, that, blah, 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 nothing. It is the supreme and fundamental law of Liberia, and its provisions shall have binding force and effect on all authorities. All authorities, whether than the executive, that the legislature, this constitution provision shall have binding force and effect on all authorities and persons throughout the republic. Any law, treaty, statute, decree, customs, and regulations found to be inconsistent with it shall, to the extent of the inconsistency, be void and of no legal effect. The Supreme Court, pursuant to its power of judicial what? Review. The power of judicial review lies squarely with the Supreme Court, not with the Bar Association, not with Sylvester, I call him, George Morgan, or all of the other proxy forces that the government is hiring here, there, yonder, and they're issuing nonsense. You just eat your money, you move on there. At the end of the day, the Supreme Court have spoken, and there is nothing the Supreme Court has spoken, and uh, nothing can change that one. The only way you can appeal the Supreme Court decision now, you gotta go heaven. You gotta take your matter to God. Say, oh God, we had a problem here, and the Supreme Court said they want you to look at it, then we'll judge that one out. Nobody can change that one again. But once we're in Liberia, once we're on everywhere here, the Supreme Court says it's final. That's what the Constitution, and that's why I read the power of the Constitution in Article 2. So what are we running? Are we running a country of law, or are we running a country of men determined by party affiliation and party consideration. So we have to define that. If we're running a country of men determined by political parties, then yes, we understand. Then we all have to start caving in and understand that this is the order of the day. And if our president is committed to the value that he has espoused over the years and the portrayal he's made of himself over the years, the president must be committed and encourage his folks to follow suit with the constitutions, with the constitution and the law of the republic, and enjoin all of his officials of government to show no iota of disdain and dishonor to the Honorable Supreme Court because the power and authority is granted them through the very constitution he took an oath to defend, uphold, and protect. And that's basically what we are doing. Sending out reminders and saying, this is what you have to do. And if an action that contradicts that and that appears idiotic, right? It makes no crime, right? To speak those languages that best describe actions that undermines the Constitution because the greatest crime is to undermine the Constitution because it leads to anarchy. And anarchy undermines all of us survival, well-being, peace of mind, and protection. So which one do you want, right? Do you want to continue to pacify, right? To pacify actions and activities that are undermining of the Constitution and the rule of law culture in the country that has the proclivity to derail us into a state of anarchy, lawlessness, breakdown. From the beginning of my show, I said it that the signals, what we are getting in the air, is that there are other sign or determination to want to introduce an alternative trajectory. In 2023, the country pursued the rescue trajectory. But in the midst of all of the flagrant deviations and, of course, breakdowns and loss of hope, elements within the society, right, utilizing their constitutional rights, are beginning to contemplate on pursuing alternative trajectory. I'm going to play for you voices of political leaders. If these things don't trouble you, it trouble me. When the political opposition in the country begin to sound in these tones and manner, well-meaning citizens of the country who are aware of themselves and have responsibility and are concerned about this responsibility, we start to think twice. And you say we should come and pamper, we should come and sugarcoat. It's not within our nature. It's not within. So you either have to define who we are. If we're a country of law that grants rights that must be executed and enjoyed to the fullest, then we must remain that country of law. If we're a country of men where we know the feelings, the likings of men are the subject of the day, then yes, we have to cave in and understand that indeed the supreme order of the day is how somebody feels, is how somebody thinks, is how somebody likes or dislikes, is how somebody accepts, or then you know exactly how you're proceeding. But we are not cowards. We refuse to be cowards. That's why the regime must be reminded. These conversations that we have here are social enlightenment, political exposure. Oh, yes. Commitment is to born within you that political drive and desire to understand your fundamental rights and self belief. So, if we cannot inspire the people to know themselves, believe themselves, trust themselves, and stand up as defenders of their own rights, then why are we here? What is our purpose? Then we must pursue other things. But just us, we are not going to do these things for the sake of doing them. So let's take a walk with Crime Stopper Liberia, the official sponsor of the program. And this break, and we will be right back.
It's about music. There are crimes in many places. In every community, you can see. So if you see crime, you must report it. Don't take law in your hand for the real authority. Really can't take care of it. Crime Stopper here for us, bringing safety to your door. Whether you rich or you poor, if you see a you must talk it. I mean you cheche. Do it for your safety. If you see it, don't keep it. You must call to report it. Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stopping crime and making peace for them before. Crime Stopper Liberia, from the center to interior. Crime Stopper, keeping us safe, they're stopping crime for all of us. Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stopping crime and making peace for them before. Crime Stopper Liberia. From the center to interior, Crime Stopper, keeping us safe, they're stopping crime for all of us.
Crime Stopper Liberia is your community crime fighting partner. Don't take the law into your own hands. Remember, if you see a crime, report it. This is a message from your own self, Old Man Sam Cyan.
Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stopping crime and making peace for them before. Crime Stopper Liberia, from the center to interior. Crime Stopper, keeping us safe, they're stopping crime for all of us. Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stopping crime and making peace for them before. Crime Stopper Liberia. From the center to interior, Crime Stopper, keeping us safe, they're stopping crime for all of us.
Yes, indeed, Crime Stopper Liberia is the official sponsor of the Freedom Money Rise. And of course, it's good to be back. Thanks a lot for staying tuned. And yes, so let's see. Based on some of what we were telling you, this is it. So it's looking from the. So let's hear some of what political leaders, political party leaders, had to say on yesterday when they met again. It's important. Some of you, since after the war, you've put your life together. You're doing your business. You do not even need 1 minute of disturbance. We do not need it. Our students, some of our kids have been born 10 years after the cessation of hostility in Liberia. They have got no knowledge of what violent action looks like. Right? So The onus is on no other person but the government to make sure that you maintain that culture of civility in the nation, where people are not motivated or people are not pushed to the edge in ways that they're able to, you know, bring about a situation where our young children are going to be confined in our in our homes, and then we'll lock them up. And young and intelligent start to think, but what is going on? And they're hearing whether it's for 1 day or 2 day, they're hearing guns, they're hearing this, and they're seeing blood, and they're seeing social media is here now. And when we are speaking to awaken the consciousness, any leader that's not petty will not be considering, will be considering mostly, right, the message in the message. Because there's a message within the message. And you have to be a deep thinker to be able to unpack and understand why, when you see a man speak, he speaks the way he speaks and all that. So you must be concerned about that. Why are all these things happening around me like this? Why are people getting increasingly displeased? But if you have a leadership that ignores that, it is the leadership that's risking all of you and all of us. And that is the point. So let's hear these.
Of National Coordinating Secretariat for the Rule of Law in the Republic of Liberia.
This is the
On this
CDC
note, we'll
chairman.
be calling on all political parties to designate 3 persons in the next 48 hours to the Secretariat. We'll be submitting those names to Chairman Horatio Gu. Chairman Horatio Gu and I will be coordinating the group. And we'll call on all stakeholders, various political parties that are here present, kindly submit in the next 48 hours 3 names. I will be working.
The political opposition are coming together, not in a moment where there is tranquility, but the sole reason for which they're coming together is the collective agreement that there are flagrant violations of the law and the constitution is being bastardized and abused. So then, when you said you think, why are they coming together? A secretariat is about to be set up to work around what? Must concern you. You can't just be living a life passing up and down and say, oh, yeah, no, no, no. Gotta go beyond that. Some of you have made minimum investments in your life. You have changed your family and faith. And you are pursuing bigger ones. Even though slowly, but at least you must remain on your snail pace progress until the right time and the right leadership is around. But again, the maintenance of that environment is the sole prerogative of the leadership of the country. And if that urgency is not seen within the leadership, we must use the power of our mob to demand and ensure that urgency. That is what's important.
On the Secretariat, and we can assure President Baka and the Unity Party that you'll be hearing from us very, very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman Cole. You want to give the chairman another hand? And so let's quickly recognize the senator of Margini.
Someone who in the and the democracy is branches.
Mangibi,
The Constitution gave
County
the
Senator
legislature.
Mangill.
The only power we have as lawmaker is derived from the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. The power the president and members of the executive, including the police, including the Attorney General, Who has the authority to arrest people and ensure that people are prosecuted under the executive? The only reason why he can do that is because of one instrument. That instrument is the Constitution that gives him the power. Similarly, the Constitution gave the Supreme Court the power to interpret all laws, rules, laws, and the Constitution. When the Supreme Court interprets the Constitution, the executive, headed by the president, they are under obligation. Under obligation is not something that is not a choice. It is an authority from the Constitution that they have to enforce the decision of the Supreme Court. And it is sad today in Liberia that members of the executive will now say they don't respect certain ruling of the Supreme Court, but they want to go back to the court to give them ruling that will favor them, then they respect the court. That is a sad story. It's also she that when the Supreme Court make decision, the people of Liberia, who authority the Constitution is ascribed, you put police in the street, just because they posted they want to defend the Constitution, you put police in the street. You wouldn't have a two things that happen. Either you suspend the Constitution, you bring military regime that we don't want. That we don't want because there's a democracy. It is a democracy. And a democracy is protected by the rule of law. Democracy. Liberia will not go back to the old past. The country will not go back. But we are under obligation as leaders of the country. In 2017, more than 1,000 people went to election. Each one of our God supporters, simple majority people won, so today in Liberia. They're not bigger than Liberia. And I want to call on the president as a son of Lofa County not to be misled by individuals. Look, there are history in the country. When you are the president, President Baga, please listen to me, because I had the opportunity to be chief of staff of the president. When you are the president of the republic, you have people around you who will tell you to do the wrong thing. But when you fail, they will say you can't listen. Those people will say you can't listen. Mr. Baga, President Baga, you said God wanted you to be president. And you are president of the Republic of Liberia. You have to maintain and make sure you protect the Constitution of the Republic because you took an oath to do so. So I want to make it clear. I hear people say, oh, CDC or the opposition want to use Fanaticofa so they can undermine the government. That's not true. Because we are part and parcel of the government, we're not undermine it. Look, I tell people, listen, enjoy your year, make sure that democracy reign in the country. Respect the decision of the Supreme Court. Not to undermine. The Constitution gave from the court because under Article 60. So it's important. So you better know today to be held for human rights abuses. So remember this today. You can take all the gun you're going around, think you can solve.
So, folks, you see where the conversations are focused about respecting the laws of the country, respecting the authority of the Supreme Court. And this is where everybody's interest lies. They are now having party interest conversation. So, oh, ANC people have been removed from the government, ANC, or CDC people, or you know, respect President Weah. No, when that happens, that is for the most part, somebody could argue that it is a party interest conversation. No. But this one here, it is a conversation that borders on each and everybody, irrespective, even you United Partisans, who think you are untouchable and all that. But the good thing is when you feel you're untouchable, but hunger can still touch you and you're hungry. Right? So this is where the conversation is, and people must understand that.
Report have the
final say on all matters of life and death.
So yeah, no, before
The negative
this is the
indices
CMC Secretary
that we
General.
see happening here today. So we are here today to speak to the government directly. That we feel that the government has broken the social contract theory. The theory that the government signed with the people of Liberia, that the Constitution will be the supreme and organic law of the Republic. We see that the government is abrogating the Constitution. And under the Constitution,
What did you listen to me talk about abrogation of the Constitution, right? And when that happened, then people start to calculate alternative trajectory. So what one you want me to do now? The big about dangers is hoovering, right? The people have got what they will consider legit ground to ferment just whatever they want to. And I know the consequence of that will be utterly disastrous for the have not. You are followers. Those of you out there who do not have the means to even have a passport. And I come here and I knock with emphasis and tell the president and the leadership, right? Do what you have to do so that we will not even experience this. That these opposition leader will now have no reason to want to continue with the meeting. And of course, the very secretariat that they are soliciting 3 names from each opposition political party to form will not. So they're building consensus. Consensus against what? The government. Then it becomes the government versus them. And who gets entrapped there? The people. So that is where we are coming in. And we are demanding from whom the biggest duty lies with, which is the government. The government is the biggest duty bearer. It is the government that keeps the peace. It is the government that breaks the peace. So if you hold on to narrow political grounds and you refuse to recognize and see the bigger picture, you endanger the investment of the people. You endanger the capacity building of the people. You endanger their lives, their future, and all that. Then we may have, whether it is a day, hour, or whatever it is, we have a movement where human rights abuses will be committed. Do we need that? No. We need an awakened government that seizes the motion, right? Leaves the partisanship. Elling, man. God. Let's go further.
Constitution disavows socialism. The Liberian people, under the guise of Article 1, have got the power to redress, to recourse,
Listen to the word, to redress, recourse. That I just talked about chatting new trajectory, right? And what did the Secretary General of the CMC say? To recourse. The man is telling you that the law, the Constitution gives the right. It's conscientizing the people about their right to do what? To recourse. Right? When you recourse to change, to remove, right? That means this course you're on, this course is dangerous, it's abrogating the laws of the country, the Constitution. So we must recourse. And the process of recoursing could ferment chaos. And I here as a social political activist, I'm using my time and my energy to beat on the head of those that's supposed to be beating and tell them, do what you have to do and save us. These are politicians talking. They have people who listen to them. They have people who believe them, who are committed to them. Before they come out to talk, they have meetings. While we are sleeping, they are talking. Do we know what they're saying? When they come to invoke conversations around these things, and you think that child play, and we must say, oh, no, we must take everything serious, especially when it has to do with the Constitution and our collective interest. If somebody is saying, "Oh, you want prosecute Samuel Tue," that one there we can understand. Oh, you can say, yeah, but it won't. It's a collective national conversation. We're talking about the organic law, the very thing that rebel Benin are not good, but the thing rebel then can hang on to do rebel Benin. You can say, oh, they violating the law, human right, blah blah blah. So that one, yeah, we must tell the president. For those of you that like the president, that have relationship with him or building relationship with him, you should tell him, Mr. President, just show an attitude respecting the law, the Constitution, and then we are good. We can have all of the
engineer the democracy and to save this nation from fast cascading into those dark years, and to ensure that we preserve a prosperous, a peaceful, safer society for our children and our children's children. So the CMC is here today in solidarity with every Liberian who is angry about the bastardization of the Constitution. The CMC stands in solidarity with every Liberian who thinks that the nation is fast cascading off the trajectory of democracy. We live in a democracy. We do not live in an autocracy. We do not live in an authoritarian regime. We do not live in a despotism. We live in a country where every citizen has got the right, that right must be protected. You can't have the Supreme Court. When I was in high school, I was told that the Supreme Court was the highest court in the country. I was told that when the Supreme Court opines, its verdict was law and gospel. That you could only appeal to heaven. The Supreme Court had the final say on all matters of life and death. In Liberia today, the Supreme Court no longer has the final say on matters of life and death under this government. The Supreme Court must be respected. The court has spoken. We want to rally the Liberian people. This is not time where you fall back on common partisanship. This is not the time where you blind your eyes to reality and say because you belong to a certain political party or a certain quadrant of society, you are going to blind your eyes to the voice of justice. It was Blaise Pascal who said these words many years ago, that whatever is just must be powerful, so that whatever is powerful must be just. You cannot have a social society with immense incompatibilities and contradictions. So we are here in solidarity with all political parties. We're here to send a clarion call to all CMCians around this country that very soon you will receive your marching orders. We will have to stand for justice. We will have to stand for democracy. We will have to stand for the rule of law. We will have to stand for the Constitution of the Republic. And I want to leave you with these words. That most times our people gather to express themselves, they are oftentimes met with police brutality. They are oftentimes met with jail sentences, where police will come and arrest you, intimidate you, and harass you. As if under the Constitution you don't have the right to express yourselves. Well, we're here to tell you that this phase is a phase of self-purification. We are prepared for this challenge. That even if they bundle you up and take you to jail, you march on into those jails and change them from a dungeon of shame to a haven of freedom and human dignity. Thank you very much.
Are you listening to the deep meaning of these conversations coming from none other but the cycle of the political opposition rally in solidarity on a clearly identified grounds of flagrant violations of the Constitution and failure on the part of the president to adhere to the highest court in a situation simply because the president is adamant to maintain and retain a regime speaker. And you are not seeing that as a trouble, but you're rather seeing how these matters are addressed as the problem. What is going on here? Yeah, the next political party representative.
I, well, like you all know, the National Patriotic Party has come a long way in this country. We have had the experience of real governance, not the experience that we see here today. Whatever you see the NPP to be a part of, you know it's a serious thing. We who have had no cause to be around talking about governance today or government, if the government was moving right, because like you well know, we were in power. But because of the respect for the rule of law, for peaceful coexistence, we agreed to whatever the results were that would give way for people to live peacefully. If there is any contradiction, we come by to tell you that we do not support it, and we look forward to everyone across this country not to think like someone said, it is Funati Kofa's business. No, it's not about Funati. It could be you tomorrow, you take into court, and probably a president is rendered and they say, no, they disagree. So again, let me come back to tell you, please be ready for whatever action that will come, provided the Secretariat and the rest of the political.
What is the action? Liberians, you're sitting in that keke or taxi or in your office or just wherever you are this morning, probably home. Ask, what is the action? Okay. The political opposition are rallying, having solidarity meetings, and we're hearing about actions and things and all of that. And you think you're supposed to be careless about these things?
Parties decide the direction they take, and I'm sure we're going to stand by the law. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Lastly, we will take the representative.
We really again to our leaders, the immediate past government, CDC, and members of the CMC and other collaborating political parties that stand to defend the rule of law. I am a founding member of the Liberty Party that always supported the Liberty Party since 2005. But when it came to an auction in a runner where we needed to decide between the current president, President Joseph Nima Boubacar, and President George Mada, we are in 2023. We chose competence over tribalism. We chose competence over divisiveness. We chose competences over weakness. And we fairness to the president, we are in the run-up. Unfortunately for us, and due to the respectability of the rule of law, President, we are graciously conceded defeat in a minimum margin. The current performance and action of the president have proven to me that if he were the president, he wouldn't have accepted defeat and to take government over. If he cannot succumb and accept defeat for a single speaker position, you wouldn't take over a government that got 5,000 appointees that manage billions of dollars in Liberian resources. You don't think such government over. So, since we reconcile our party, Liberty Party, and some few individuals based upon their own selfish political interest decide to stay aligned with this government, I was able to mobilize LP partisans, calling ourselves the non-alliance members of the Liberty Party that stand by the rule of law. Because if Councillor Charles Walker Brunson were allowed, he would have been silenced for the flagrant violation of the rule of law and the disobedience to the Supreme Court, which in keeping with Article 76, a treason of when you subvert the ruling of the Constitution or Supreme Court, it's treason of. Because Article 66 and Article 65 of the Constitution make it very clear when the Supreme Court rule, all branches of government will abide. Nobody can alter. The Supreme Court is the final arbiter of justice and the final entity that can settle constitutional dispute. and the executive is under the obligation to implement, to enforce. We need a background. You took oath to defend and protect the Constitution.
Okay, folks, enough. We've heard. Enough to awaken your consciousness as to what is in the air. You could choose to be careless. You could choose to ignore the writings, the signs on the wall. But at the end of the day, it's important to take cue from happenings around you in your environment. This is where we are. What is it gonna mean for the next days, week, months to come? It's important. We're gonna open the phone lines and take calls and hear you out on these and every issue we talk about. 0776 104 104 086 500 104 plus 231 86 500 104 are the numbers to call, and you will be live on the Freedom Morning Rise on Freedom 87.9. Okay, so let's begin with this first caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to Freedom FM family and good morning to my people of the government as well. Good morning to you, brother Abu Sharif Ispido, and good morning to Ega also. By the way, the introduction, I'm Efanso E.F. Kamal. I do join this conversation this morning from a peaceful resident in the transformer community within Christian and was relatively old. Thank you very much for the topic on the discussion. I think like you when support come away, ruling it should be respected because Supreme Court is the highest applicant of justice in our country. When Supreme Court rule, the view of Supreme Court should be respected. But if the president come out to say, well, now where will the Supreme Court ruling, you will view the issue based on people who have follow. Then you will not be doing justice for the Supreme Court. The people have the follow, but they don't have the people who are going to preserve over the follow. So we have to respect the rule of law of this country. That's what is a culture of constitution. We have an Uganda law. But everything has been done. We say that the law will focus down on the one for John. They are paid to rescue this country for all bad governance system. But today we are seeing all activity and repeating. So let's be frank. It's nothing different than what we expected that John did not demonstrate. So it is the same path going on. Yes, it's the same path.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's take former Grandmaster Soup. Abu Janjek Bakwe, let's hear you.
Good morning, Abu.
Good morning.
And good morning to the peace-loving people of the Liberia. I believe that what is obtaining, they will call all citizen attention. This is the troubling movement. For some of us that was born before the 80s, and we saw how 1989 arrived.
Mm-hmm.
And some of us that read the pages of history of what happened in 1979. This is a beginning of disenchantment in the public. When there were political disagreement in 1985, we didn't have rest until 1989 arrived, and there was a revolution that took the lives.
Mm-hmm.
Bloody revolution that took the lives of over 250,000 Liberians.
Mm-hmm.
It was simply about democracy not being respected. It was simply about the rule of law not being respected by the then government of the time that brought all these Ulubaru that took us to the destruction of property and lives.
Correct.
Having realized all these situations, we brought in a 42 years old experienced president who have lived all his life on government, like leash. That people believe that he had the experience going to govern the right way. We took off former President William.
Mm-hmm.
In former President Real leadership, we didn't see a frequent violation of the Liberian Constitution as it is by this government. In fact, it's just becoming a way of life of the government. People who believe that they had issue with any position they want to go Supreme Court rule, you disobey Supreme Court ruling. Now, constitutional issue have arrived from one of the branches of the government who gave rise to Article 66 says that Supreme Court should look into the matter and give a verdict. Today, the President of the Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Joseph Newman Boaka, is leaving the pool of wanton violation of the Constitution. We hope and pray that the international partners are following what is obtaining in the country. Because a few years ago, they were issuing statements of search when these things they believe that were happening. Rule of law is not being respected. Police is being using forceful means to violate the laws of people, the rights of people. People being brutalized on a daily basis. In fact, you can find dead body all on the streets of Liberia, and nothing is being said. With the conglomeration of political party and other civil society organizations, I believe they are fighting for the right of the people, and I'm prepared to join them in any given situation, any given time, because the rest of the people and the Constitution should be respected at all times, irrespective of who is in power. No president has the power to abrogate the law unto himself.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me take this call. Hello, good morning. That was Daniel Baker. Good morning.
My name is Ishmael Kamara, and I'm calling this morning from Benjo. You know, I see insensitivity and stupidity on the part of this government. It be my imagination to see the so-called professionals behaving the way in which they are behaving. What sense would it make for the president to tell us that he was going to work with Coron, and which of course the Coron is illegitimate that he wants to work with? I think you as the enforcement arm of our government to ensure that Article 33 can be implemented by comparing the guys to come to session. Because by you working with a legitimate group, we compare them to come to session. And it's very clear. But what the president is telling us that he cannot even obey our laws. So what is he telling us? So we should respect him. And he should respect us as a citizens. Let me just leave there with you, Abu.
Yeah.
There is some intelligent information. There are some intelligent information we are getting. Two things. Either the people come out in that number to tell the president that the laws are being abused and that is not going to be acceptable, or they sit by and relax because we are getting some information that there are people planning to use this situation to destabilize our country. There are arms that have been prepared in here that we are getting information or that we are going to use.
Okay. We hope the president will work and do all he can to avert these things. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my dear brother. This is Edmond Carr, the visual impaired guy, the keeping program to the fire to deliver.
Go ahead.
Whosoever that have whosoever that have whatsoever, we don't care. They have to go on because one guy the owner is reckless and he is a serious crippling dictator. So the only way to stop this crippling dictator on the Liberian people is to start him now. So we don't care what happened on that day, on the days to come that we will be in the protest. We don't care. We are prepared.
No, but if what you are asking for, if the president and the government listen and adhere to the rule of law, there will be no need for you to take any action.
Right. There will be no need because you have been given an ultimatum, which of course without asking, without appealing to him, that he forced to do. Then he listen to Supreme Court because the very region court that he's supporting, when you're submitting a letter for real argument, he put it there, Representative Richard Cool, you didn't include their speaker.
Okay, thank you very much. Eugene Jebo.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Abu. Thank you so much. Abu, this is a group of people in power who claim to be educated. And they know all the book in the whole war. What a big our imagination, Abu, for the self-proclaimed educated people to behave the way they're behaving. You can remember, Abu, when the Supreme Court ruled against countrymen in the level, you're not able to contest. Richard Cool and other unity party were celebrating. When the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Global Moses Cow, they should free. He said it as Nuka. The president, Joseph Newman Boaka, was celebrating.
The Secretary General of the United Party took men to Central Prison to march with her.
Exactly. There's the same Supreme Court. She has not changed. And she ruled against the speaker, against Richard Cool on the majority bloc. So Abu this fight is not just for a single speakership position. No. our fight in this issue is to protect the organic law of our country because
Okay, protect the organic laws of our country. Who's in here? Well, let's hear you.
thank you. Mr. Cherry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good morning to Chairman Hager. Yeah, I found the conversation. Sometimes you have to be educated and informative for political sentiment. In regards to the press conference that was held by the president of the association.
Mm-hmm.
So I spoke with AB being a lawyer and giving an answer. About the Bar Association is comprises of lawyers and magistrates.
Mm-hmm.
Even the Chief Justice and Associate Judges of the Supreme Court are members of that association, executive members.
So can that nullify a Supreme Court ruling? Can the decision nullify? Okay. So then why are we wasting our time on it?
No, listen, Abu, right? So let me make my point in the meeting because I know you're not giving the time to go above. So, in fact, the decision of the president is not unilateral. It is an executive agreement, which of course they went and had a discussion, people disagree and agree, and they came up with that press conference.
Who told you that?
It was not. I spoke with AB.
Okay.
AB Williams, right? Yes.
But yes. Okay. Anyway, but the vice president, have you read what the vice president of the bar have said?
So you have to have dissenting opinions. We should be respected.
But you say the people when meeting they agree, they argue back and forth.
According to AB, right? There was agreement. There was a majority agreement.
My man, I don't know when you AB tell you that woman. So
okay,
you calling AB near, maybe you lying on the man or something.
Call your friend.
Who's it, my man, Papa, man. Who's it? So let's take from on this end. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, brother.
Yeah, okay.
This is Richard. Yeah. My brother, the issue here, I can remember when Boston took the case to court on election for against his party. Before we're listening to the Supreme Court ruling, which of course the court case for ruling and they were accepted. So I don't know why now people would not want to accept the Supreme Court ruling. I'm from the military party, but I'm not speaking on the party level.
Mm-hmm.
You see, life here is what you think that will happen about other people tomorrow. You should think about yourself and think about other people.
Right.
Richard is a Liberian. Jonathan Comfort is a Liberian. So whosoever the chairman of the speaker and confusion thing and the Supreme Court come with ruling, I think it's your right to accept it to honor it as anybody.
Okay.
So now, you know why we're looking for right now?
No.
Any country looking for the government.
Correct.
That one we can get president whosoever. But I'm saying the development is in the military. Then I'm working on the military man. The development is carrying on.
My man, I lead the military. Me, I won't give room to do your military thing. Because you know what? There are a lot of things you enjoy in civil authority. That probably some of you may not even be aware that you're enjoying this right because there's a civil leadership and not a military junta. So there is nothing really amusingly beautiful comparatively. Yes, democracy may have its own misgivings and all that, but no, I do not subscribe to all that military. Yeah. Hello, good morning. Avin, you're live.
Well, thank you. Good morning to you, Abu. Let me say good morning to the rest of the Liberian people that are following your broadcast this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to again restate and reiterate the position of the opposition political parties. Abu, as you know,
as what? As a spokesman?
not dispute man,
As what?
but one of the constituent members of the opposition
So are
party.
you speaking on behalf of your party?
I have the constitutional standing by the virtue of my party's representation within the bailiwick of the opposition collaborative political parties.
Yeah, but to be speaking for the solidarity or the collaboration is what I want to be sure.
I am speaking as a constituent member of the Solidarity Political Party.
With the authority to say the things you're about to say.
I have a standing by the virtue of my party's representation.
Okay. Let's hear you. Go ahead.
So your question does not meet Quorum.
No man, go ahead. Right? You looking for quorum too?
Yeah. So let me say this quickly, Abu. We had the meeting yesterday. In that meeting, there were different civil society organizations and movements that were present, as well as almost 12 different political parties making representations and about the same issue about the rule of law.
What is the purpose of your meeting?
So last Friday we had the first meeting, and this long meeting we developed a national secretariat where each of the political party will make a representation, and we will have 3 representatives on the national secretariat to begin
to do what?
Or to begin the national mobilization of what will go down in history as the biggest assembly to restore constitutional and democratic order in Liberia.
Okay, so it goes to say that you're actually meeting to organize what you consider the biggest assembly, right?
So it's about restoring constitutional order and going back to democratic governance in the country. So,
but what do we have? What do we have now? Don't we have democratic governance?
No, the government we have is that the different states is the form of authoritarian leadership that has been governed by the last old rascal and mafia of the old order Baka, who is trying to take the country back to the decadence of civil unrest and political crisis. You can see already across the country that there is lack of system and control. The democratic collapse has created panic. Investors are scaring away. Business people are now wrapping up that.
Do you think Liberians are in sync with the action and the decision that you are planning towards?
So that's why we are making the consultation. So each political party that was in the meeting yesterday, in the representation that have representation yesterday, are going back to their different constituent members, and they're going to have broad-based consultation about how they can govern and their basis activate themselves to begin to march for freedom, to begin to march for justice, to begin to march for the broader constitutional participation of the Liberian people, and that Mr. Bwaka must be told that this country belongs to the Constitution of Liberia and the democratic state, and not individuals who want to impose themselves against the rule and order and establish democratic order of the country.
So while you are doing all of these organizations, are you also aware that the matter has not been fully adjudicated, because owing to the fact that the majority black has already filed for re-argument. So, assuming the government decides to listen to the Supreme Court and adhere the ruling, so are you going to discontinue?
But the issues about going for re-argument and disargument and another argument is none of our business. What the Supreme Court ruled by our Constitution is final and remain final. Anything all of that is to sabotage the judicial order of our country, and we're not entertaining that. We will not entertain that. So nobody will think that they have lost and say, let's go play.
But the re-argument is also called for by law, because you're talking about the law.
So there's something called terror in law. Listen, the court is not going to do further rulings, because the first 2 rulings are the same things that
but it is not in your purview to determine that you have the court can speak for itself.
I'm saying to you, the doctrine of self statute has already established precedent cases. Under the doctrine of self statute, the court has ruled in the first case, the second case. So there are 2 cases where there are established principles that you cannot change on our law. So nobody can bend the democratic judicial system in the name of wanting to arrogate and impose the puppets.
So you think the Supreme Court need you political opposition to do that for them?
The Supreme Court is an independent, autonomous body. That's why it has moved out. Usually, we have known the previous position of the government headed by the president. He was very disrespectful and disingenuous. He went and utterly disregarded the position of the Supreme Court, which was a backlash, disrespect to democracy. It was a butchery of the judicial system of our country, and he put left in the system and plucked that left out. You cannot come back and instructed your puppet after he also disregarded the position of the Supreme Court, and you coming back and say you want to go for re-argument. How can you go back to a institution that said has no credibility, has no power, and you disagree with it, and you are going back
for the sake of respecting the Supreme Court? Can you all hold on and wait for the outcome of the re-argument?
Look, the situation is not really about Supreme Court re-argument. Look, let me tell you the country.
But you say you're defending the code and the law now.
Abu, the country now is telling to a serious political catastrophe. We need to save the country. We need to save the state. We need to rescue. We need to redeem the Republic of Nigeria for the hands of these bandits and state looters who are trying to take this country back in the days of 1990 and in the days of 2003.
Don't prophecy.
While Liberia is turning to, we're not going to allow the country to slay into bloodshed and people can't eat. I mean, the preachers have to wrap up the location. Preachers are moving. We are organizing our business by rallying the folks.
Okay.
We are activating all of the cells in the country. We're not going to move our Supreme Court.
Okay,
the
brother.
opposition parties are organizing themselves, and we have organized our steering committee, and volunteers will be recruited volunteering for Ocean political parties. Civil society are being instructed to do similar things. And if they like, you can be buying time for Supreme Court, and we'll be doing legislation, judicial shenanigans. We are not going to buy into that. We are going to organize ourselves, and when the times get ready, it will be us versus them, and let them put the police officer, let them put the TSI officer.
Okay, I mean, thank you. I mean, has left. He was already concluded. David, how you push your man out? But just 30 seconds because time is up.
Yeah, thank you. Abu, the entire re-argument stuff is all about why Supreme Court have to make their salary. Look, these guys are forgetting that President Weah, before he left office, he left behind this budget of $620 million budget, which was rejected by President Bouakai, and it was sent back to the legislature for them to amend that budget. That budget was amended to $692 million. And before that, before the budget would be passed, the people operated $40 million from that budget before it could even be passed. So should we say that money, it was that money that they should have used? Look, the government have to operate, and if there were any money paid to the judiciary, it was that Richard Coon personal money, not a part money he told to give to those justices or the judges as federal court. So whatever decision that the court have made, it is dependent upon the state government, the authoritarian leader that we have.
Do you support the opposition party meeting and what they're meeting for?
I am part of the opposition. The Congress of Democratic Change, we are part of the opposition. So whatever meeting that we will have in this country, it is keeping upon us to restore stability in the state. Because Joe Bouakai have brought about instability, and they kind of way the country is proceeding. They have to take charge.
Okay, take charge. Okay. Freedom Money Rise, Wednesday morning. Just before we leave you, the Liberia National Bar Association Vice President, Councilor F. Joa Lawson, disowns, distances herself from the Bar statement, from the Bar Association President's statement on yesterday evening. Among many things, she said it lacks executive committee approval, and she do not support it and will not stand by it. That is the president war versus the vice president war of the Sim Bar Association, Liberians in your corners, your intellectual centers, your community forums. You can have these conversations. So the president of the bar is saying one thing, the vice president is saying another thing. Liberia has fast degenerated into a Pandora box. So yes, you can go ahead. My name is Abu. Until we meet tomorrow, do have yourself a wonderful time. We may most likely have the again. Um, we may most likely have the return of Mr. Richard Coon's spokesman. You know, the other time he was here, and of course, my good friend, uh, he, he he wants to come back to to settle school. So yes, tomorrow the brother will be here because we actually agreed that when the ruling is out, he was arguing that it was going to go in the favor, it didn't, and it has happened the way it happened. So many things has also happened after that. I want to hear what the Richard Kuhn camp think, what Mr. Kuhn think, and of course his spokesman who most likely be here tomorrow for breakfast. My name is Abu. Until we meet tomorrow, do have yourself a wonderful time. Bye bye.
When I can hear them from across the ocean singing this song.